right, let's get to our big story. After getting feedback from thousands of Oregonians, the state has now withdrawn its wildfire risk map. How about that? Well, let's give you a little backstory on what happened here. This is all part of a law passed in 2021 to address the impacts of wildfires in Oregon. Now, part of the law led to this wildfire risk assessment map. It looks kind of complicated. It was created by the Oregon Department of Forestry. It's meant to inform people whether their homes are at high or extreme risk of wildfires, and just as significantly, whether they need to take additional steps to protect their homes, which was going to be a requirement by next spring. For example, trimming trees or cutting back vegetation on their property, creating what's known as defensible space. Well, a lot of homeowners, especially in rural parts of Oregon, say the map caused their insurance rates to double or even triple. It gets worse here. Some say their insurance companies wanted to drop them entirely. There is more. Critics said the map was inconsistent. The risk designations you just saw were not accurate. So after a bunch of controversy and complaints and some very heated feedback, the state has pulled the map and is going to start over, kind of. Let's bring in Ashley Korslund, who's been covering developments in this story all week. Ashley, I mean, really a big about face from state officials here.
Yeah, David, there was a lot of reaction to this map, as you said. So ODF says it got about 750 appeals from residents in just the last few weeks. And some Republican politicians had even asked the state to pause or stop this whole process. And it looks like they got what they wanted, at least in part. Here's part of my conversation with ODF today.
Did you expect the amount of feedback and response as you've gotten this week?
I don't think that we anticipated the amount of response about the downstream implications. So there are some potential unintended consequences that we hadn't anticipated in drawing the lines on the map and determining how risk was going to be classified based on the direction of the legislation. But we certainly understand, you know, citizens' concerns and want to make sure that those are accurately represented in the process moving forward.
Obviously, one of the issues is people upset about their insurance rates potentially rising because of this. But another part is the homeowners, especially in the higher extreme risk areas, who say the state shouldn't be telling me what I should be doing on my land as far as limbing or creating defensible space. What is ODF's position on that?
ODF does not have a position on that. We have very clear instructions under the legislation on what we're supposed to produce. We certainly understand people's concerns, but the map is an awareness and information tool, and subsequent, requirements or regulation. One of the entire purposes of Senate Bill 762 is to advance wildfire protection here in Oregon. We have to learn to live with wildfire, and these are some of the ways to do that. I certainly understand folks' concern about, government regulation that they may not agree with or understand, but it's still a good idea, and we still want to inform people of the risks that they might have.
Okay, so the map is scrapped for now, but ODF says it is going right back to the drawing board to reconfigure and revise it. They anticipate having a new map drawn before the end of this year, and it really isn't going to look much different.
We just ask for folks for patience while we make some technical revisions. But I also just want to, manage expectations a little bit. Like I said before, that while we'll have some minor adjustments, the map is not going to look drastically different than it looks currently. That there are still fuels on the ground. There are still climate, weather, and topography issues that cause problematic fire behavior in certain areas of Oregon. And those are the areas that we're trying to highlight to be able to show the elevated risk for that impact of wildfire.
So if you thought the state is going to wash its hands of this map and scrap its plans, that is definitely not what's happening here. It's really more of a pause with the same end goal. That's unless people like State Representative Kim Wallen of Medford get this law amended in the next legislative session.
What does this whole situation indicate to you? I mean, you were a proponent of, hey, let's slow this down. Let's take our time and do it right if we're going to do this. And now here we are. All this work has been done, and now we're pausing. So what's your thought on that?
I opposed this bill in the first place because I thought this might happen. So this is the main reason I opposed the bill. So it means to me that the method was flawed, fatally flawed. They withdrew the maps. I hope that this is going to cause a lot more public comment, a lot more public engagement. All of this is public policy. This rulemaking meetings are open to the public and public comment can be made. So I do hope that people engage, and I hope that through that process and hearing from constituents, that the policy, that there will be enough impetus that the policy will be changed when we get back into the session in January. That's what I hope. I hope that we change the policy altogether.
And we should mention here the defensible space requirement, where people would have to amend their property, maybe limb trees. Well, that is only one portion of this new state law. Representative Wallen says there are also potential restrictions on building new construction in parts of the state considered high or extreme risk for wildfires. And she says those restrictions could hurt the state's need for affordable housing in those areas.